Ever picture yourself at 103, kicking back in a space hospital, but still, itching for adventure?
Still got that explorer's spirit.
Exactly. And that's where we find Heywood Floyd, right at the start of Arthur C. Clarke's 2061 Odyssey 3.
Talk about starting a story with a hook. You're already wondering what could possibly happen to a 103-year-old in space.
Right. And Clarke being Clarke, you know it's going to be good.
Oh.
So we're diving deep into Floyd's story, using excerpts from the book, by the way, to unpack some seriously wild sci-fi concepts. And maybe, just maybe, uncover some truths about humanity along the way.
Because that's what Clarke does, right? He uses these out-there scenarios to hold a mirror up to our own nature.
Totally. So we've got Floyd, our centenarian, just itching for one last hurrah. What does the universe throw at him?
Only a chance to revisit a childhood dream, a trip to Halley's Comet.
As one does at 103. Just another Tuesday.
But it's not just any old comet visit. Halley's putting on a show this time around, getting close to the sun, geysers erupting every few hours. Imagine, like, a cosmic old faithful spewing ice and dust millions of kilometers out into space.
Talk about a spectacle.
Spectacular. And a little bit dangerous, with all that debris flying around. But hey, that's space exploration for you.
That's life on the edge, right?
And
But this is Clarke, so you know it's about to get even wilder.
oh,
Cue the entrance of Sir Lawrence Sung, this eccentric billionaire with a serious obsession space travel.
obsessed in a good way, though. I mean, this is a guy who puts his money where his mouth is. He wants to commercialize space travel, make it accessible to everyone.
Ambitious, to say the least.
It's like he's ripped a page out of a future history book. We're talking about a guy who throws around money like it's nothing, building spaceships, funding expeditions.
I mean, I wish I had that kind of cash to throw at my space travel dreams.
Right. But there's a real drive there, a belief that humanity's future is out among the stars.
I can get behind that. But while Sung's busy building his space empire, things are getting strange, like really strange, on one of Jupiter's moons.
Europa, right.
Yeah, Europa. Scientists are picking up these bizarre readings that hint at a massive formation on the surface. And remember, this is post-Jupiter's transformation into Lucifer, so the entire Jovian system is a hotbed of activity and, honestly, a whole lot of mystery.
It's like the universe hit the reset button out there, and we're just starting to understand what the new rules are.
Okay, so we've got a transformed Jupiter, strange readings coming from Europa. What's the big reveal? What is this massive formation?
It's a gigantic diamond, larger than Mount Everest, in fact.
Hold on, a diamond? Like we're talking of the Hope Diamond times a billion?
More like the Hope Diamond times. Well, imagine Everest, right? All that mass, but made of pure diamond.
My mind is officially blown.
And it gets even crazier. The initial readings, they pointed to quartz, not diamond. But there was this one scientist, Dr. Vandenberg, brilliant guy. He knew all along.
Knew, but he didn't say anything.
He kept it under wraps while he figured out just how massive this thing was. Talk about a poker face.
Seriously. So how does a diamond bigger than Everest, just show up on an ice moon?
Well, that's where Clarke's genius for weaving real science into his fiction really shines. Vandenberg's theory is that when Jupiter imploded, became Lucifer, a chunk of its core, which was likely made of diamond, got blasted into space.
Wait, back up. Jupiter had a diamond core. I need the layman's explanation on that one.
Okay, so think of it this way. Jupiter massive, right? Under immense pressure, like unimaginable pressure, carbon, the stuff diamonds are made of, it can crystallize. So under those conditions, deep inside Jupiter, a diamond core could absolutely form.
Okay, I'm starting to wrap my head around the diamond core thing, but how does a chunk of it end up on Europa?
That's where the implosion comes in. Picture a shock wave so powerful that it flings a mountain-sized diamond into space. Some of that debris, according to Vandenberg, landed on Europa.
Okay, that's just wild. So are you telling me there might be more of these diamond chunks floating around out there?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, it's Clarke, so anything is possible. But before we get lost in a space diamond rush, remember those bizarre life forms we mentioned earlier? Europa's got a hidden ecosystem underneath all that ice.
Ooh, yeah. Those things. For a second there, I completely forgot about alien life while trying to picture a diamond the size of Everest.
Happens to the best of us.
So what's the deal with this European ecosystem? What kind of life are we talking about?
It's not your typical ecosystem, that's for sure. Think hydrothermal vents, strange creatures feeding off heat and minerals, instead of sunlight and photosynthesis.
So a whole different kind of life than what we're used to.
Exactly. Imagine, like, an alien octopus, but instead of tentacles, it's got these spidery appendages crawling around in the near darkness.
Yeah, that's an image that's going to stick with me. We've got a giant diamond, alien life forms. Is there anything else we need to throw into this cosmic stew?
Well, how about a mysterious monolith?
You've got to be kidding me.
I'm serious. Clarke throws in a reference to a Great Wall on Europa, potentially linked to the monolith from 2001, a space odyssey. Remember that thing? Kickstarted humanity's evolution?
Yeah, no pressure or anything. Just a giant, mysterious monolith hanging out on an ice moon.
It makes you wonder if its presence there is just a coincidence, or if it has something to do with a diamond or even those life forms.
It's like Clarke looked at his story and thought, you know what this needs? A little more mystery and intrigue. All right, I am officially hooked. Okay, so before we went off on that tangent about diamond cores, we were talking about a giant diamond grappling with bizarre alien octospiders and wondering about the monolith's reappearance.
It's a lot to process, even for a deep dive like this.
It really is. So where do we even go from there? What else happens in this cosmic adventure?
Well, things get even more interesting when we bring in another one of Sung's ships, Galaxy.
Oh yeah, I think you mentioned this earlier.
Right, it's chartered for a scientific mission to Europa, but there's a bit of a situation on board.
Another giant space diamond incident. Because I'm not sure my brain can handle that twice in one episode.
Not quite. This time it's a stowaway situation.
Okay, now that's intriguing. What kind of stowaway are we talking about here?
And not your typical sneak onto a cruise ship for a free vacation kind of stowaway. This is more like a full-on clandestine organization with a hidden agenda.
Okay, that just took a turn. What kind of agenda are we talking about? And how do you even sneak onto a spaceship? Don't they have like space TSA or something?
You would think, right? But somehow this group, they managed to plant explosives on Galaxy. They're aiming to sabotage the mission.
Explosives?
Yeah.
Seriously, who blows up a spaceship full of scientists? That seems a bit extreme, even for a sci-fi thriller.
It does make you wonder what they're so afraid of, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And why go through all that trouble? Why not just, be a scientist and study the giant diamond?
That's the million-dollar question. The excerpts we have, they don't reveal the culprit's identity, but it's clear they're connected to the political tensions surrounding Europa and its newfound
Oh, yeah, no.
assets.
Exactly. The second word of giant space diamond gets out, everyone in their government is going to want a piece of it.
Speaking of pieces, what happens to Galaxy? Do they find the explosives in time?
They do, thanks to one of the crew members, Rose McCullen.
Rose McCollum.
Yeah, Rosie. She discovers the plot and manages to disarm the bombs, which is, talk about a skill set.
Seriously, this woman is like a space MacGyver, so she's the hero of the hour. Case closed.
Not quite. Turns out Rosie isn't just a crew member. She's a highly trained operative on a secret mission of her own.
Wait, what? This just got complicated.
Right. And that mission, it involves getting Galaxy to Mount Zeus, even if it means hijacking the ship.
Hold on, are you serious? So she's a secret agent, she's disarmed bombs, and now she's hijacking spaceships. This woman is intense.
That's one way to put it.
But what's so important about Mount Zeus to her? Why risk everything for a big diamond? That's another mystery that Clarke leaves us to ponder. We get hints, though. Her mission, it's connected to the monolith somehow, maybe even to the fate of Europa's biosphere.
Of course. Because why have one mystery when you can have five? This is like peak Arthur C. Clarke right here.
It's true. He loved to weave together these seemingly disparate elements, science, philosophy, human drama, and then challenge his readers to find the connections.
Speaking of connecting the dots, we've got Galaxy heading for Mount Zeus, a secret agent calling the shots, and those creepy alien creatures still lurking around. Do they ever actually make it to this Diamond Mountain? But what about that alien encounter? Does that go anywhere?
They do make it to Mount Zeus, but it's a harrowing journey. McCullen, she forces the second officer, a young man named Chang, to pilot the ship through Europa's atmosphere. They face turbulent weather, those bizarre life forms. It's a miracle they didn't crash a dozen times.
That's no joke. Landing on a moon with alien creatures in a diamond mountain is not exactly a walk in the park,
Definitely not for the faint of heart.
What about that alien creature that attacked earlier? Did they ever figure out what it was?
There are these little hints that it might be connected to the monolith, but nothing concrete. The creature, it attacks Galaxy, even manages to snatch a crew member right off the deck, but then it dies suddenly.
Just dies. What happened? Did they fight it off?
Not exactly. It seems like it was poisoned by the ship's waste.
Wait, seriously. Alien space creature taken out by space garbage.
It's kind of anticlimactic, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, you'd think an alien species that could survive on an ice moon could handle a little space trash, but
It does make you wonder about the fragility of life, though, doesn't it? Even alien life.
that's a good point. I mean, we think about alien life as being so advanced, so different from us, but maybe at the core, it's more fragile than we realize.
Exactly. It's a humbling thought.
Okay, so we've got a space diamond, a hijacked spaceship, a mysterious secret mission, and an alien creature that met an unfortunate end. What could possibly happen next?
Well, this is where things get truly strange, even for Arthur C. Clarke. Galaxy lands in the European Sea near the base of this diamond mountain, and Chang, the second officer, he steps out onto the surface, and he sees something that shakes him to his core.
Don't leave us hanging. What does he see?
He sees a city.
A city.
A vast abandoned city, seemingly built by an advanced civilization, and it's made entirely of diamond.
You're kidding? A diamond city. Like skyscrapers and streets and buildings, all made of diamond.
That's what the text implies, yeah.
And it's abandoned. What happened there?
That's the big mystery, isn't it? And it gets even weirder. Chang isn't the only one who sees the city. Remember Heywood Floyd all the way back on Universe?
Yeah, our centenarian space explorer.
He experiences a vision of the city as well. Millions of kilometers away, he's seeing what Chang is seeing on the surface of Europa.
Okay, now that is just wild. How does Clarke even begin to explain that? Are we talking about some kind of shared hallucination?
Yeah.
Or something even weirder? I need answers.
Yeah.
Or at least more hints.
Well, you know Clarke, he likes to keep us on our toes. But before we delve into those potential explanations...
Okay, so last we left off, we had this image of a diamond city, a shared vision across millions of kilometers. And more questions than answers, honestly. Where do we even go from there?
Well, this is where the story takes a turn. Remember how Galaxy crash-landed near that diamond city?
Yeah, pretty intense landing.
Turns out, it wasn't the crash that was the problem. It was the ship's exhaust.
The exhaust. You're telling me this advanced diamond city-building civilization, they got taken out by space pollution?
Essentially, yes. Galaxy's engines, they use water for fuel. The exhaust, it's mostly harmless to humans, but to the life forms on Europa.
Toxic.
Incredibly.
So let me get this straight. They landed this ship intending to explore, maybe even make contact with this incredible civilization, and accidentally wipe them out.
It's a heartbreaking irony, isn't it?
It really is. Makes you think, you know.
It's a reminder that even with the best intentions,
things can go wrong.
Our presence, it can have unintended consequences. Devastating consequences, especially when we're talking about alien environments, life forms we don't fully understand.
It's a lot of responsibility to carry.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, what right do we have to barge into these alien ecosystems? Even in the name of exploration, are we ready for the consequences?
That's the question Clarke seems to be grappling with in a lot of his work, isn't it? He doesn't give us easy answers, but he presents these scenarios, these thought experiments, to make us think critically about the choices we make.
As individuals and as a species.
Exactly.
And those choices, those consequences, they feel even more relevant today, don't they?
How so?
Well, look at the impact we've had on our own planet. It makes you wonder, can humanity ever truly explore without leaving a mark? Without causing some degree of change?
It's a difficult question, and one that we as a species need to keep asking ourselves as we venture further out into the universe.
It's a lot to think about.
It is. But amidst all the ethical dilemmas, the tragic consequences, Clarke does offer a glimmer of hope.
Oh, how so?
Remember how Universe, Floyd's ship, uses Halley's Comet to refuel to reach Europa?
Yeah, that was pretty ingenious.
It's a reminder of human ingenuity, our ability to adapt to overcome these seemingly impossible challenges.
We find a way.
And then there's the monolith, lurking in the background, seemingly orchestrating events, guiding both humanity and the Europans toward some unknown future.
Like some kind of cosmic puppet master.
Right. We're left with this sense of wonder, this feeling that we're just scratching the surface of something much larger than ourselves.
And that's the beauty of Clarke's work, isn't it?
Absolutely. He doesn't give us all the answers. He leaves us with mysteries, possibilities, a sense of awe.
Well said. This deep dive into 2061, Odyssey 3, has been a wild ride. Giant diamonds, alien life forms, ethical dilemmas, and a healthy dose of cosmic mystery. It's hard to believe we fit it all into one episode.
It's a testament to Clarke's genius that even decades later, his work still feels so relevant, so thought-provoking.
Absolutely. And on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive into 2061, Odyssey 3. But the conversation doesn't have to end here. If you want to explore the mysteries of this book for yourself, and trust me, you do, Be sure to check it out. And as always, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.